J-Mike.
Jolter.
And this is Unisport Uncut
In Nice, number 56.
56, 56.
56.
We just randomly decided to sit down on the beach in Nice because, well, it's Nice.
It's Nice. It's warm, man.
It's
I haven't seen the sun in months, so if I look like this throughout the whole episode, I'm not even sorry.
You're just gonna have to live with it. But Jolter, we've come to Nice to, amongst other things, discuss what agents and scouts are looking for in young football players.
Yes. 10 minutes?
10 minutes on the clock. Okay, there we go. Start.
Okay. What I thought we should start with is think about what is the difference between agents and scouts.
Yes, okay.
So obviously agents are, looking to kind of like represent players.
Yes.
And potentially get some deals for their players.
Yes.
Whereas scouts are, usually hired by the clubs to look for, players for the club.
Yes. So
Whatever
basically,
club it might be.
Agents are looking to make their money by selling, you to the clubs, basically representing you, getting you better deals. So they take a sum of your money, while scouts are basically hired by the clubs. They make their money from the clubs by finding players for the club so that the club can earn some money on them.
Exactly. So, right off the bat, what would you say scouts are looking for? Not agents, scouts.
You know what, with my vast experience playing football on a high level and working with scouts, I would say I have absolutely no idea. Because I've never dealt with scouts. But what I would assume that they're looking for is, of course, technical ability on the ball, some sort of understanding of the game. Like, do you have footballing intelligence? Because that's also very important. And then, of course, attitude and work rate.
Yeah.
I would say if you can have that in one package, I think you'd be very interesting to a scout.
I agree. And one of the big things, in my opinion, is the age. Because, it's no secret that nowadays, scouts are looking for players who are 5 years old. And then they go to FC Barcelona, like for real, it's crazy. Obviously, there's also scouts watching, 22-year-old players. So there's a big, difference in what kind of players they're looking for.
But what, let's say that they were talking about a 5-year-old then. What would a scout be looking for in a 5-year-old? Because obviously, neither their technical ability nor their understanding of the game is not developed at all. I mean...
No, unless you are some kind of a genius because I've seen some crazy 5-year-olds.
But still, I mean, they're playing 5-year-olds. It's not like, yes, perhaps comparable to their age, they're geniuses, but it's still, is not a guaranteed winner.
Yeah. I think that the younger you are, the scouts, if you are like a good scout with good intentions, they also look at, how's the rest of your life?
Yes,
what
your
kind
background.
of are you ready to potentially move? What about your family and so on? Because at that age, like football, they can potentially, if everything goes well, in 20 years, maybe you can be a professional player. That's basically it.
Yes.
But there's many things, it's a big move, obviously, for a family and so on. So they look at also what kind of a person you are. Not only, that goes a little bit deeper. That's just not like you go to one game and you are yelling on the pitch, this kid is an idiot.
No, of course not. But personality, I think, matters a lot. And that was again with the whole, the personality to the work rate, how seriously are they taking this? Is it a guy who's going to, once you start getting into the age where you get more interested in girls and alcohol and cars and all that stuff, are you going to lose interest? Are you going to take your eye off the ball? I think that matters a lot, the right attitude. And then, if the technical ability is there to see, you're not necessarily Messi, but you can see that he's got some technical nous.
Yeah.
You can get there.
Obviously, and and for a lot of you guys out there, I'm just gonna say,
yes,
that the 15-year-old-ish guys out there, then it's more already about your footballing ability.
Yes.
Obviously when a scout goes to a match, there's 22 players on the pitch, Potentially they might be already going in to look for certain players. Let's say they are looking for a midfielder. So then obviously they are maybe just looking at the midfielders and hoping that, okay, there's somebody good here. And then of course it's a lot about like you said, just technical ability, understanding of the game,
Yes.
like off the ball movement, all this kind of stuff.
But
like,
let's also
how
put
is
it
your
out there.
football brain?
Yes. But just by working hard, you're not going to get scouted necessarily.
No.
And just meaning that there's a scout there and you play a good game doesn't mean that you're going to make it into FC Barcelona.
No.
I mean, it's a long process. You have to be really lucky. And also, of course, you have to perform on a very consistent basis. But here's a question for you, because you've probably dealt with scouts. I haven't, because I haven't played football at a very high level ever. But my question to you is, what can the guys out there with the big dreams actively do to become more visible, or should we say desirable, to the scouts or the agents or whoever might spot them and make them pros?
Well, obviously you need to be a good footballer. Like this is where it
Duh.
starts. But
Yes.
in youth games in general, like it helps a lot to be like a vocal leader on the pitch. Obviously, not everybody is. Like I'm pretty sure that Messi has never yelled on a football pitch, but he lets his feet do the talking. But for example, like I was always like for real, I'm dead serious, But I was always very vocal, like
Yes.
guiding my players,
Yes.
like even when we're defending, we're attacking, like being very loud,
Yeah.
It's like, confidence. And I've even heard like sometimes some scouts say that they show up already at the warm-up, And if let's say that they've heard that, okay, this number 10 in this team, he might be something. But if this guy, if he's fooling around,
Yes,
even
being-
in the warm-up, like, you
Being
can
anonymous,
see,
unserious.
yeah, like a little bit. He might be good and talented. Many young players are better than others, like technically, and then
Yes.
that's why they might do well for many years. But if they can see through your bullshit, and that you're just like fooling around, maybe that's a directly no. But another thing is also that if a scout actually sees something in you, he can see that 5-10 years we're gonna make you a good player. Other thing they also look at is what are like your strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
And then hopefully his club can also help you with those things. Like it's
Of
like
course.
even if you are like a, let's say, Crystal Palace, I'm just throwing names. Maybe they find like some 18-year-old guy who's already a great player, but then they have a meeting with him, potentially his agent, and then they go through, here's how we see you as a player, here's where you can become better, and hopefully we can make you into this guy.
But then here's another question. So, okay, people can make themselves more desirable or more visible to scouts by being leaders on the pitch, by working hard and having the right attitude, and of course being good footballers. I mean, I'm not gonna go out on the pitch, work hard, all that stuff, be scouted. No. But if they do that, are there some guys out there who can say, okay, I'm too old? Are you ever too old to be scouted, if you know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think you're ever too old. Because, okay, here's another thing, define what means to be a professional footballer. You can be a professional footballer and not play for Barcelona. Yes, it is true. Like,
Wow, dropping truth bombs here.
listen, like, I know a lot of guys who are professional footballers. No, they're not making a bucket ton of money to chill in Nice and play here. But they make their living
Yes.
playing football.
Yes.
Maybe they live in a building complex with the rest of the team, and the house, the food is paid, and then they get a little bit of extra money on the side. But hey, that's the reality of being a pro footballer.
But they live from playing football. And that's
Yeah,
also
man.
what you guys got to figure out. How serious are you about playing football? Do you only want to play pro football if you can play for the Barcelonas or the Real Madrids or the Uniteds? Or not the Chelseas, because no one wants to play for Chelsea. But, the very biggest clubs in Europe. Or are you okay with playing, should we say, League One football, where you can also live as a pro and make a decent living and support your family and all that stuff? But how serious are you about your football? I think that's also some of the attitude that scouts would be looking for. But you
Yes.
don't think you can be too old?
Honestly, I don't think so. Never say never. I firmly believe that, like, I'm not saying that if you're 25 and you all of a sudden think, should I start playing football? Let's do it, Not saying you can't do it, but we've heard crazy stories about, like, Jamie Vardy and so on.
Yes. But in general, though, I gotta be the buzzkill here. I think there is of course there are exceptions to the rule, but I think that once you hit like the early 20s, if you haven't been scouted yet, there's a very, very small chance of you actually being scouted, because usually this is when, the big talents, they take their steps into becoming like true world-class players. So if you haven't even been scouted yet, I mean, of course you can be unlucky and someone might still see your genius on the pitch. But you know, the older you get, the smaller and the slimmer the chances, in my opinion, get of you being scouted, because
Of
you know,
course.
all the other guys around you are being taken in by, let's say, between 10 and 16, 17 years old. And you know, that's just the reality.
And obviously, I can already tell that a lot of people will comment, well, where I live, there's never scouts, you know? Obviously, you know, it's not like all the scouts for the best clubs or even like regular clubs go to like all the distant corners in the world.
No.
So, and there goes the time. And the last thing I wanted to say is that, you know, there are many ways. You don't necessarily have to get scouted. You know, that's why some players, for example, have agents, but that's a whole other discussion.
If you want us to discuss what agents can do for you, you can either go and check out the video that we did with Will John. He talks a lot about it, or we can potentially even make a video, an uncut, discussing that subject as well. But guys, don't stop believing. There are scouts everywhere. You might not be scouted right now, but you might be scouted in the future, despite you being an old bugger like myself. I think it's over for me, but that's...
Yeah.
But
It's over for you.
Never-
It's also over for this episode. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe. Okay, you can click the green thing right up here. We have made more uncuts in the past. Click the videos down here. And that's it. Let us know in the comments what you think about scouts, okay? And with those words,
we're signing off.
we out.
Cheerio.